Hi, everybody, and welcome to the start of another season of Winners. Thanks to your terrific support, we're back in Bonnett's beautiful basement, located in the #1 tourist spot in the nation, Hueytown, Alabama. Boy, you can tell what I did in the off-season. You know, everyone who's made it as a winner will tell you it's a long, hard trip from where they started. Darrell Waltrip, the 3-time Winston Cup champion, is a winner by anybody's standards. When D.W. started out in Owensboro, Kentucky, knocking around the little short tracks just like the rest of us, he had no idea what the journey was going to be like. Today, Daryl is in a place where he controls his own destiny. He leads his own team, and he is one of the few successful owner-drivers in the sport. In this special 2-part edition of Winners, you'll not only see 2 shows, but 2 Darrell Waltrips. You'll hear in his own words all about life at the top and what it took to get there.
Winners is brought to you by Fram Filter Products. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. And Autolite Spark Plugs and wire and cable products. Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go.
For nearly 50 years, car owners have used Gum-Out fuel system cleaners to help eliminate hard starts, hesitations, and stalls. And there's Pennzoil quality in every product, which is why so many people know they can trust Gum-Out to improve engine performance, help eliminate hard starts, hesitations, and stalls. Gum-Out, solutions to engine problems, from the people at Pennzoil.
Here we go again, guys.
Wow! I feel good.
Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto lights. American Orient Paul, we're guaranteed.
I feel good.
Yeah, 2 years no matter how far he goes. That's why we've been everywhere. Vegas.
I feel good.
Yeah. Daytona.
I would now.
LA. Wherever we're going. The Superman. Yeah. And we're not even tired.
Okay, 3 reasons not to buy BF Goodrich TA tires. The only hairpins you're comfortable with are the ones your grandmother uses. You get white knuckles on a dime store pony. You think 55 miles an hour is quite fast enough, thank you. BF Goodrich TA tires for the rest of us.
Don't rock the jukebox. All you hear is some Jones.
The TNN Music City News Male Artist of the Year, Alan Jackson. One hot night in Austin you won't forget.
Standing in the spotlight, chasing that neon rainbow. Oh, how I wish Dallas was in Tennessee. I could move Texas east.
The Alan Jackson Special, Monday at 10 Eastern on TNN.
He's a husband, a father of a young child, a race driver, and a car owner. And that about fills up Darrell Waltrip's day. When I caught up with him at his race shop in Harrisburg, North Carolina, he was wearing his car owner's hat. Darrell, you've been racing for some 30 years now. How'd you get, it's been that long. How'd you get started in it?
Let me think. 30 years. You took me by, when you said 30 years, I got to think back for.
I'd help you, but I can't remember that far.
I'm about in the same shape. I've had a couple of pretty hard licks myself. How did you get started in racing? In all honesty, I've told this story before, but my grandmother took me to racing when I was 6 years old, and the reason for that was my grandfather was the deputy sheriff in Owensboro. We had 2 racetracks there. One ran on Friday night and one ran on Sunday afternoon. And my grandfather would work traffic. He would stand out in the road and park cars. And my grandmother, she didn't like sitting in the grandstand by herself. So she takes her little 6-year-old grandson with her to keep her company.
It was an old dirt track up east of Owensboro. And we'd go to church on Sunday, and we couldn't get out of church soon enough for the grandparents to come pick up Daryl and go to races. And this happened just about every Sunday during the summer months.
So that's how I got started going to races. Then when I was 12, I got me a go-kart and conned Daddy into getting me a go-kart, and it turned out to be a neat deal.
The deal was that we made that I'd buy the go-kart, and then he'd work and mow yards in the summer and that sort of thing and pay for it. And some way or another, that part of it got lost in the shuffle some way, you know. But anyway, that's where you got started.
When I got to be 16 years old then, it was just a progressive thing. My dad and I built a 36 Chevrolet Coupe, put a big 6 on the side of it because it had a 6-cylinder motor in it, and put Wild Child down the side of it. And that was my entree into stock car racing. Got me a hobby car, that's what they call them then, and started racing on a couple of dirt tracks around Owensboro and climbed right on up.
You know, it's been printed that when you first got started, Stevie's father helped you financially get going. And what about that deal?
Without a doubt, I wouldn't have gotten started had it not been for my father-in-law, had it not been for the sponsorship that I got from Terminal Transport.
Terminal Transport had been involved in racing back before we acquired it. A fellow named Joe Katz loved to race, and he used it as advertising for Terminal. Well, it seemed like kind of a natural.
The first Winston Cup car I bought was a 69 Mercury, and the car had a great history. It was a 69 Mercury when I bought it. It had been a 67 Fairlane. Mario Andretti, it's the car that he drove to victory in the Daytona 500 in 1967. And then they made it into a 69 Mercury. It was for sale, the car with a new engine in it and a spare engine now, for $12,500. It was the car, the 2 engines, had some extra wheels, some tires, and $12,500 is what we had to pay for it.
That's what you get for these cars here, isn't it?
Yeah, right. That's what we get for the tires that go on these cars here now. And so when I found out about this car, this is where my father-in-law came in. I didn't have $12,500. I didn't know anybody in the whole world that had $12,500, except maybe my father-in-law. And so they knew I wanted to race at Daytona, and this car was ideal for that. It was a 69 Mercury, would qualify to be a Saturday car, a bush car. If I bought it then, I wasn't going to do anything to it, just run into bush race. And then I went on down to Daytona, and I crashed it at Daytona. And when I come back from Daytona, I met Jake Elder and Robert G. And Jake said, why don't you make this car into a 71 Mercury and run it in a Winston Cup Series? And not waste your money on these bush races. Don't even fixing this thing back up into a 69. If you can take it over to Hutch's, Hutch will make it into a 71 for you. That's what I did. And that's how I got my first Winston Cup car, and Jake and I took it to Talladega in 1972, the first time I'd ever been on a track that big. And so that was my intro into Winston Cup racing.
3 years later, on his home track in Nashville, Tennessee, Darrell would win his first Winston Cup race. And he would not hesitate to tell you about it either. When we come back, we'll hear more about the guy they call Jaws, taking on the legends of stock car racing.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram XtraGuard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram XtraGuard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
They build this country, they grow our food, they do the toughest jobs and they do them real good. American workers take pride and care and wear the country's favorite brand of work where they wear Dickies. Because when the job matters, it matters what you wear.
Know a hard worker who does a great job on a job that matters? Nominate him in Dickies American Worker Awards. See your participating Dickies retailer for complete details.
American workers wear Dickies workwear. Because when the job matters, it matters what you wear.
If where you want to be is on a Kawasaki jet ski watercraft, then head to your nearest dealer for Kawasaki's sizzling summer deals. Factory-to-dealer incentives make this summer the hottest ever to pick up a Kawasaki jet ski watercraft. We're talking up to $400 off on selected models. But you better hurry, as these special incentives are only good for a limited time. Call for the dealer nearest you and dive into the summer with your best deal on the water's best ride.
Catch 90 minutes of racing excitement from start to finish on the American Sports Cavalcade. the American Sports Cavalcade. 7 Eastern Sports Sundays on TNN. Monday night, TNN's turning up the heat with a sizzling Nashville Now show hosted by Clint Flood. And featuring special guest hunks Aaron Tippett,
Have it any other way.
Billy D,
I miss Billy the Kid.
and Little Texas.
Some guys have all.
It's almost too hot to handle. Monday night on Nashville Now.
When Darrell Waltrip won his first Winston Cup race, he was only 25 years old. It looked like this kid from Kentucky had the world by the tail, but look can be deceiving.
I could not imagine a car costing $12,500. And I can remember saying to Daryl, just show me why this car, where is the value? I cannot believe you were spending $12,500 on this race car.
Man, I was that close to making it on my own. But I was in debt, deeply in debt. I'd borrowed money from everybody I knew to get this thing going, to keep it going. I'd met with NASCAR, and I wasn't involved in any kind of contingency money from the promoters. I think that's when they first started the Winner's Circle. And I went and met with Billy and France and a lot of the NASCAR people. I said, man, if y'all could just get me some money, I think I can do something.
Well, I think what he was looking for was sponsorship at that time more than anything else versus you say looking for money.
And a few tracks, we wrote letters to everybody, and a few tracks participated and gave us the same money they were giving everybody else, but not very many. So when I won that race, and that was great, but it didn't pay the bills. But the one thing people I think always saw in me was my determination. And I was determined to be sitting right here doing what I'm doing today. I didn't know how I was going to do it because I didn't have any resources. When kids come up to me today and say, well, I can't get this, and I can't get no ride, and I can't get no sponsor, and what do you think I ought to do? I mean, I get so... First of all, you ain't never going to get anywhere with that kind of an attitude. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any sponsors, but I found a way. And if you got the drive, the determination, and you want it bad enough, you can get it. The shop that we raced out of is Robert G's shop right around the corner here. And again, I had Jake working for me, and there were weeks when I couldn't even pay him.
I told her, I said, you got to do something, man. I said, you're a killer, man. You starved me to death. He said, well, I'll take care of you when I do better, I just ain't got no money right now.
And Robert did work on my car, helped me maintain my car, and I couldn't pay him. I doubt if I've ever paid him back everything I ever owed him. I hate to say that because he's the kind of guy that'll be over here when he sees this.
When he finally quit to go to DiGard, I think we was just about broke. He didn't have no money left, and he owed me $9,000, and so I helped him load his stuff up, and he moved on to DiGard, but we got all straightened out later on.
When you went Winston Cup racing, that's a touchy situation. You go in there and you're going to tackle the Pettys, the Allisons, the Pearsons, the guys that's established, and when you did that, you were doing what every driver wanted to do. You went up there and beat them, and in turn, it upset some of the fans. How did that bother you?
You know, getting booed every week was hard. It was very difficult. I couldn't let on like it was. I mean, you know, what am I going to do? Crawl out on the stage when they introduced me, get on my knees and cry or pout about it? I tried to make light of it. I tried to explain it well. It's because this is happening and that's happening. And I was boisterous. I was too boisterous. I mean, I'll be the first to admit that.
That was a hard time, and I can remember, being embarrassed by it. I would walk out with him to be introduced, but it was real hard. It wasn't something I enjoyed doing.
And I got myself in so much trouble. At first, I thought I was having fun. I mean, I was really kind of, jabbing them a little here and jabbing them a little there. And, oh, boy, Richard's going to love it. I'm going to zing old Richard and I'm going to zing old Cale. But they didn't like it. And not only did they not like it, but the people in the stands didn't like it. And so my image was one of, my crew wouldn't push, there's many a racetrack, they wouldn't push the car on the track, and on the lineup Sunday morning. They say, I ain't pushing that car out there. Somebody gonna shoot you one of these days. And I'm thinking, why do they say these things? And then when we would push it out there and they'd throw things at us, I realized what I'm saying. Not too terribly long ago, we were pushing my car online, and some of these boys were with me back in those days. They said, wouldn't it be fun if everybody started booing us again? I said, no, whatever happens, we don't want that to happen. But it was hard, and the hardest part of it was for my family. My poor little old wife, I mean, she just dreaded going to the racetrack on Sunday, knowing what we were going to have to put up with and go through, and getting in and getting out of the places a lot of times. It's just a real touchy situation. But by the grace of God, that has changed dramatically.
Daryl, but I'd bet you, though, out of all those people that did the booing back then, if you took a new poll right now, they see what's going on and respect for you now, that what you accomplished in racing, and that was a major undertaking, knocking the king and those guys off their throne. And I'm telling you, the people right now, the people that booed, cheering for you now.
Yeah, I have people come up to me all the time, day in and day out, and say, I have a confession to make. Well, I know what they're going to tell me when they say that.
Heard it a few times.
Yeah, I used to boo you, but now I like you. And well, they don't know what a thrill that is for my heart to hear that. So don't stop telling me.
It's true, you know. There's nothing like being a winner and being liked. When we come back, Daryl signs a big dollar contract and ends up having to buy his way out of it. Stay with us.
Here we go again, guys.
Wow, I feel good.
Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto lights. American Orient Paul, we're guaranteed.
I feel good.
Yeah, 2 years no matter how far he goes. That's why we've been everywhere. Vegas.
I feel good.
Yeah. Daytona.
I would now.
LA. Wherever we're going. The Superman, yeah. And we're not even tired.
At age 74, I'm the oldest Ironman triathlete.
Jim Ward has a hobby. It's called staying young.
It's a workout.
That's why he uses Armor All protectant on his dash, seats, and especially his tires. Rubber can age and crack, but Armor All penetrates to keep his tires looking like new. Jim says his tires never seem to get old. People say the same thing about Jim.
I like a good-looking car. It makes me feel good.
There is a fountain of youth, and we own the patent. Armor All.
I gotta run.
Just because you go all out, doesn't mean you gotta stink. Not if you're wearing this. And here comes your chance to prove it. And you will, because Old Spice works. Man, does it work. Fights wetness, kills bacteria. The proof?
Hey, hotshot.
You're looking at her.
Old Spice antiperspirant for great odor protection. You demand proof, not promises.
This could be it. This could be their big break. I've been in their shoes. This really takes a lot of guts. You could describe the show as more intense than any roller coaster ride you've ever been on. Or be a star that you be heard and seen. I think that look on the contestant's face when they announce their name as the winner, that's priceless.
This week on Crook and Chase, join us at Opryland for a week filled with stars.
Including Crystal Gale, Porter Wagoner, Doug Stone, Mike Reed, and Paul Overstreet.
Don't miss a minute.
Crook and Chase, a full hour live weeknights on TNN.
Darrell Waltrip made a big name for himself driving for the DiGard team. Believe it or not, he got that ride by passing Donnie Allison for 4th place in the 1975 Firecracker 400.
I beat Donnie on the last lap, and that's how I got that ride. I didn't know it at the time, but Bill Gardner said, I don't know who that kid is. I'm tired of him outrunning me, and we want to get him in our car. We had a lot of success. I won 29 races driving DiGard's cars, and we came within 11 points of winning the Winston Cup Championship in 1979. But it was a turmoil all the time. Bill Gardner, wherever he may be today, we just couldn't get along. Philosophically, we didn't believe the same things. We didn't think the same things. His idea of how to run the team and my idea of how to run the team and how to treat people and what I thought we ought to be doing, they never coincided. We were just 180 degrees apart all the time. And so it created a terrible situation. 6 days a week we fought. Always would put everything aside on Sunday. I would, and the team would, and everybody would, and we'd go out and do our job. But as soon as that race over with and Monday morning came, we were right back at it again.
It's amazing you won as many as you did.
I know. And we went through, you know, talked about the revolving door at DiGard and all that stuff, but it was a terrible situation. And in 1980, man, another one of those points in my career when I knew I had to do something. Cale was leaving junior. He announced that like in April or May of 1980, that he was leaving junior. Junior Johnson, if I drove Junior Johnson's car, I'd win every race. I knew that. But I've got this contract, and I cannot get out of it. I've tried every way I know how. I can't get out of it. So through the course of finding out, and Junior wanted me as bad as I wanted him. So we were really conniving and working together how we going to pull this deal off. And Gardner had me convinced that if I walked, that he would put a restraining order on me and wouldn't let me race. And so, man, I got that in the back of my mind. The worst thing, the number one thing is I got to be able to race because that's how I make a living, and I'd die if I couldn't race. So
more so than not having to live.
Exactly. So lo and behold, in the course of a conversation my attorney was having with Gardner's attorney, something came up about $300,000. Are you telling us if we give you $300,000, you'll let him walk? Well, I don't know. But anyway, to make a long story short, it's much more detail, but that was the number that came up. Well, Pepsi wanted to be our sponsor, Junior wanted me, and I wanted out real bad. So we had three things going for us. All three of us put up $100,000 apiece. Pepsi did, Junior did, and I did. And I got the $100,000 from my father-in-law.
And the offer was made on a Friday, I believe. Well, there aren't too many folks I know that can raise $300,000 with the banks closed and so forth, and the offer was open until Monday. That's Saturday morning, and I'll see what I can do. Well, I happen to have some pretty good friends in the Owensboro National Bank. I called them up, the president and the chief stockholder and a couple of vice presidents that I knew, and they all rousted around and opened up the bank and opened up the vault to get the check writing machine out and wrote me a check for $100,000. He took his lawyer with him, and the two of them knew that Gardner and his lawyer knew they couldn't do this. Well, they showed up, and their hangdog and their poor mouthing, and the Gardners are sitting there, happy as bird dogs.
All day in.
And you know the symbol that they used in the old picture shows Sting when Redford gives the nose, the sting is on. Well, old Daryl turns to his lawyer and goes, and reached in his pocket and pulled out $300,000 in cashier's check and says, "Here it is, and I'm on my own from here on out." And that's how he went to work for Junior.
I remember walking in Junior's shop. Now, they'd won 3 championships with Cale, and he had won a number of races too. But in 1980, when we got the deal done, and I walked in the shop, and Brewer was there working on the car, and we started showing me the cars and all that stuff. I said, "How'd y'all do this year anyway?" Well, we won, I think they had won 4 races and they'd won 4 races and 12 poles, I think it was, something like that. He won a bunch of poles that year, 1980. I said, "Well, old buddy, let me tell you, I'm going to win 12 races, and we might win 4 poles. But that's the way we're going to run this deal."
We won like 4 out of the first 8 races. Won more money than we've ever won in our lives. Of course, he needed some money.
We won 12 races that first year, and I think we won 14 poles. I mean, gosh, we just won everything. It was an incredible, and we came back and we won the championship first year together. Going to juniors was the best thing that ever happened to me. In the course of all that, I developed a great relationship with Junior.
I felt like Daryl was a good investment because, what I thought he could do in our car, and it was just a good business decision that I made.
The DiGard deal was turmoil, fight, scratch for everything you get. Here, Junior was a real racer. He raced for a living. He spent time in the shop, hands-on everything. And I saw a totally different man driving for Junior than I had driving for Bill Gardner. Junior believed in honest day's work, honest day's pay. He'd give you anything he had coming to you, but he ain't going to give you no more. And I learned a philosophy about racing, and out of that I also learned a philosophy about life, about how to better way to treat people and a better way to act. Junior didn't want all that smart talking and cockiness. He wanted that race car to run. He wanted to win. He wanted me to win driving it, but he didn't want me to get out and tell anybody how great I was.
Had a kind of a Muhammad Ali type feeling about himself, and what he said most of the time he could back up, and he had a big ego.
I was a diamond in the rough when I went there, and I turned out, when I left there, I turned out, changed my life, changed my racing, changed my life, and I give them a lot of credit for putting up with me and helping me get to where I am.
Sure enough, old Daryl had him a pretty good thing going up at Junior Johnson's, till I came along and helped mess it up. You ask how? Well, I'll tell you how, but you'll have to wait till next week in part 2 of our visit with Darrell Waltrip. Join me and see how DW came to be a Winston Cup owner and driver. We'll see you then.
Winners is brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs and Wire and Cable Products. Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. And Fram Filter Products. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later.
Next week on Winners, Darrell Waltrip tells how close he came to not having a NASCAR Winston Cup ride when he left Rick Hendricks Racing. Don't miss it.
I'm Neil Bonnett, and you are in beautiful downtown Hueytown, Alabama. But you knew that, didn't you? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Winners. Last week, you saw the young Darrell Waltrip, the brash, some say loudmouth kid from Owensboro, Kentucky. Maybe some folks didn't like him, but everyone could see he was a winner. On this edition, you'll see how Darrell changed over the years and about the lessons he learned. One of those lessons was, if I'm ever going to control my own destiny, I gotta own my own race team. Last week, you saw step 1 in Darrell's education, his $300,000 divorce from the DiGard racing team. Step 2 was his departure from the famed Junior Johnson organization, and I might have had a little to do with that. You'll see it all in a moment when we return to Hueytown.
Winners is brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs and Wire and Cable Products. Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. And Fram Filter Products. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. And by Pennzoil, the motor oil that outperforms any leading motor oil against viscosity breakdown.
Here we go again, guys. Wow! I feel good. Yeah, this guy really gets around. He's got the auto lights. American Orient Paul, we're guaranteed. I feel good. Yeah, 2 years no matter how far he goes. That's why we've been everywhere. Yeah. Daytona.
I would now.
LA. Wherever we're going. The Super! Yeah! And we're not even tired.
For nearly 50 years, car owners have used Gum-Out fuel system cleaners to help eliminate hard starts, hesitations, and stalls. And there's Pennzoil quality in every product, which is why so many people know they can trust Gum-Out to improve engine performance, help eliminate hard starts, hesitations, and stalls. Gum-Out, solutions to engine problems, from the people at Pennzoil.
There's only one way to go for high-performance off-road or traditional replacement parts and accessories. Key Parts Auto Stores. Rancho's new RS 9000 5-speed, the first hand-adjustable truck shock, and Rancho's Chevy S10 3-inch suspension system with 15% more clearance. Call 1-800-453-4000 for your nearest Key Parts Auto Store and for your Key Parts catalog. Just $249 and packed with hundreds of dollars in discount coupons.
Oil. It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram ExtraGuard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram ExtraGuard. American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
With 43 Winston Cup wins, 3 championships, and $5.5 million in earnings, car owner Junior Johnson and driver Darrell Waltrip had 6 pretty decent years together. Nonetheless, it was during those boom years that Darrell Waltrip started thinking about owning his own team. He got pretty unhappy when Junior hooked up with a rich guy named Warner Hodgson, and things began to change up in Engle Holler.
Here's what I get for not reading the questions ahead of time. While you were juniors, here comes the second team rolling in. Guess who? It was me.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's times, Daryl, that the thing just doesn't work, just like the deal at Nashville. You know, it's on the... Oh, why have I got to ask? I didn't even want to bring this up. But anyway, the two-car team, at times, there's always something going to pop up that causes a problem. I mean, the deal at Nashville, you know, I said I won, you said you won, but best I remember, you got the trophy, so you won the race. But it does cause problems having 2 cars run out the same place like that.
Well, it did. I think when I went to juniors and as I grew into that situation, I became very, very comfortable. And I loved Junior and I loved Floss, and they were like moms and dads to me. And I didn't want anything to disrupt that. Forget the racing. I didn't want somebody else coming in and stealing, you know, my little family operation that we had here. And we were so focused. Every year we won the races and the championships. I didn't want anything to change. That was the biggest problem I had. I didn't want anything to change. And Warner came along and everything was changing. Yeah. I mean, we're building new shops and we're changing this and we're moving this and
the hog pen moved over.
Oh yeah, we're putting rocks in the creek and moving the garden. And I mean, I'm thinking this ain't going to work. There ain't no way this is going to work. And I'm, of course, I'm on one side of the creek and y'all are on the other side of the creek. And the guys that were there was a bridge in there. You didn't have to swim over. But the guys that were with my team were the same guys that had always been there behind the house in the shop that was always original shop. They built all the new stuff down there for y'all, and you know, it was a distraction. And we could, you know, it didn't have anything to do with personalities, because I've always liked you, and you know, we've always been pretty good friends, and it didn't have anything to do with that. It was just, it wasn't what I wanted to see happen, and I just wasn't comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And my car didn't run as good. And that was the other side of it. Junior now, he's busy trying to figure out where he wants to be. And he's in your pit a while, and he's in my pit a while. And it just wasn't working.
And from our side, it was all on you. We just wanted to win races. It seemed that in order to win, we had to beat you, even though we were supposed to be working together. When you start running 1-2 in races, that's competition. I guess that dispute over who won the Nashville race, where I first got declared the winner and you won the protest, I guess that was the beginning of the end.
In '86, our performance was really not very good. Our car, it wasn't the best Chevrolet anymore, and we wasn't into R&D. And I tell Junior, I say, Junior, we got to pick up our program. We got to, you know, our motors are making 600 horsepower and they're making 650. Ain't no way a Chevrolet gonna make 650 horsepower. I'm telling you, Waddell Wilson is and Rick Hendrick is. These guys are making that kind of power. Well, I'll have to see it to believe it. And that was the year I think your car went to Daytona, and you had the first of what was some really neat cylinder heads that we got onto. And your car would fly. And you had 635 horsepower. He bolted those heads on up in the motor room, I'll never forget it. And he took a 600 horsepower motor, made it 635 horsepower motor, but he didn't want to admit it. The dyno wasn't right. So.
But it ran like it.
It ran like it. So anyway, when that happened, that was just proof in the pudding right there. Say, see what I'm telling you? So anyway, we went through a year 86 of see what I told you, see what I'm trying to tell you. And Junior Johnson's a great man, I love him to death, but you don't ever tell him anything. You might ask him something, you might suggest something, but don't tell him anything. And I was telling him that we wasn't running too hot, and that's the worst thing you can tell him. So latter part of 86, we hadn't won but like a couple of races, and I think I'd won a pole. You know, we just wasn't doing any good, and Junior, he started going around telling everybody it was my fault. Oh, well, Darrell's made all this money, he's won all these races, and he's getting old, and he just don't want to drive no more. I'm going around telling people Junior's old, he don't care about racing anymore, and that's why we're not running good. So he and I, you know, we kind of got crossed up in 86. Well, along the latter part of 86, it was time to renegotiate my contract. And I wanted X number of dollars, and Junior said, I ain't paying nobody that kind of money. And I said, well, I got an opportunity to go somewhere else and be paid like that, and I might just take it.
Me and Daryl had been together a long time, and things the last couple of years didn't do as good as we felt like it should, so it's probably a good thing at that time to just move on and do other things.
The someplace else that Daryl found to go was the dream team of high-rolling Charlotte Chevy dealer Rick Hendricks. The appeal was more than money. Hendricks offered Daryl something he never could have had at Junior's, a piece of the action, part ownership of his own team with the opportunity for full ownership somewhere down the road.
The way Daryl and I got together was kind of, it happened one day. He came by the office to talk to me about getting in the automobile business. And we started talking about the automobile business and ended up doing a deal together.
Add a healthy dose of Waddell Wilson's legendary horsepower, and Darrell's decision was easy. He left Junior Johnson with only one regret.
I made a comment about, somebody asked me about getting out of Junior's cars into Waddell's cars, and I said, it's like getting,
I know
it's like getting out off a mule and getting on a thoroughbred, you know, and I should have never said that. That's probably the only detrimental thing I ever said, but I have to hear about it all the time. But
wonder who you hear from.
From up on the mountain up there. So anyway, Junior told somebody, said, well, I don't know about that. I had a jackass up here and he left. Talking about me.
It was the dream team. The perfect driver, perfect cars, perfect sponsor, and a perfect crew chief. All the elements for success. For DW, there was one more thing. The realization of his personal dream, owning his own Winston Cup team. That dream had a few rough edges, as we'll see when we come back.
Joe Amato. When he goes out for a Sunday drive, he goes with Autolite. But Monday through Saturday, Joe goes one better. Autolite Platinum, the premium performance plug for your everyday driving. This Joe's not your average Sunday driver. And Autolite Platinum's not your average everyday plug.
Now you can roll away unsightly debris from carpets, roll away stubborn lint or dandruff in seconds. Clinging pet hair on skirts and sweaters, roll it up and rinse it away. Introducing Magic Roller,
It picks it up, you rinse it off, and use it again and again. Don't struggle cleaning old-fashioned clothing brushes or replacing messy paper refills. Magic Roller's permanent silicone surface lasts and lasts. Its space-age roller penetrates so thoroughly, watch it pull the print right off a newspaper, yet it's gentle enough to use on this delicate cashmere sweater. Call or send now, and you also receive this fold-away travel-size Magic Roller. Its magnet-like action attracts dust, lint, and hair just like the big household model. You get them both for only $14.98. Magic Roller is ideal for car seats, mats, and slip covers, fresh and upholstered furniture, lampshades, needlepoint. Pick up dirt, dust, and debris your vacuum missed, and you might not even see. Magic Roller is the best clothing brush on the market. It has hundreds of uses, and best of all, it rinses right off. Call or send to Magic Roller at this address now. You get both home and travel Magic Rollers for only $14.98. Order more than one set and take $2 off every additional set you order. Be sure to order today.
An all-new season, a full hour, The American Music Shop, beginning Saturday night, April 18th at 10, 9 Central on TNN.
In its first 2 years, the Hendricks and Waltrip Dream Team won only 3 races and underwent a couple of well-publicized reorganizations.
You know, if you talk about the NBA and you look at an all-star game, you can put a lot of the best players in the league together, but sometimes they don't play together well. And, you know, with Daryl and Waddell, all the talent in the world was there. But maybe it was the pressure of everyone thinking it was going to be an unbeatable combination, or, you know, maybe it was just that the chemistry wasn't as good as they thought it was going to be. Whatever the reason, it wasn't what we thought it would be. And we separated it and reformed it, and then it worked.
Just as folks started writing off old DW, 1989 began with a huge bang. He won the biggest race of his life, his very first Daytona 500, after 17 years of trying.
Had a great car, had a great engine. I had a B&R engine in my car, and they were a little bit better than everybody else restrictor plate wise at that time. So I had the power and had the car right, and we won the Daytona 500, and that was like lifting tons of rocks off my shoulder. I got to tell you a funny story. At least I think it's funny. He didn't think it was funny. They may not think it's funny, but it's just kidding, okay? Me and Earnhardt were talking one time after about 90, early part of 90. And, well, no, when did he blow out the tire on the last lap? Was that 90? It was right after that sometime. He and I were talking, and he was telling me about, you know, what a rotten luck that was. And that was the rottenest luck I've ever seen. But I told him, I said, yeah, old buddy, you know, we're getting older, you know, and one of these days we'll be sitting out on the porch swinging, and Taylor and Jessica will be out there in the yard playing, and we'll be talking about all the things we've done, all the races we won, the championships we won, and you'll be telling me how great you were, and I'll be telling you how great I was, and then I'll tell you that, yeah, but you ain't never won the Daytona 500. And I thought he was going to kill me. I thought he was going to break my other leg.
Speaking of breaking your leg, I want to ask you about that big Daytona crash. You were right in the middle of putting together a big sponsor deal to buy your own team. Then you get all busted up and about mess up the whole plan. Tell me that story.
Just before we go to Daytona for the 4th of July race, Mel Ayala calls Joe Carver and tells Joe, y'all got a deal. We're going to go with y'all. We like what we see. We think that Daryl's our kind of guy. I've done some work for the bottlers here in Charlotte. We think we're going to go with y'all. Go to Daytona. I'm pretty good shape now. I got me a sponsor. Everything looks pretty good. What happens? Get my leg, get in a crash, get hurt worse than I've ever been hurt in my life, get my leg all broken up, my arm broken. I lay in the hospital Saturday for getting ready to start the race, and I'm laying there in the hospital. Don't know what's going on. I just know that they're racing, and I ain't in it. That's all I know. So Saturday goes by, Sunday goes by, Monday morning, Joe calls me up and says, DW, got some bad news. What's wrong? Can't get no worse than this. Wrong. Mello Yella called, and they're having second thoughts. They're not sure, how long you're gonna be hurt and out, and what you're gonna be like when you come back. And they said they'd rather pull back and wait a while and see how things look. Well, I'm telling you right now, if they had come in and cut my heart out, it wouldn't have hurt no worse. Because there I knew I was in bad shape. I'm out of action for a while. Now I don't have a car to drive in 91, and now I don't have a sponsor.
And you can't get up and do anything about it.
Ain't nothing I can do about it. So, I really was. That was the lowest point that I've ever had in my racing career. I've been faced with a lot of obstacles on and off the racetrack, but that was the absolute lowest point.
In some respects, it was a real hard time, but in others, it was a real good time. We were home for 2 months straight. That was real positive. I can't ever remember, even when Daryl was in the hospital and one of his crewmen suggested maybe it was time for Daryl to quit. And it made me so sad because I knew Daryl wasn't ready to. I mean, that's what I think got him back in the race car so quickly and helped heal him up as quickly as he did, because he couldn't wait to get back.
I pouted about it, and I felt sorry for myself about it for about a day, and I thought, don't make no difference. I can overcome this. They can take away my car, they can take away my sponsor, but they can't take away my ability.
The Daytona wreck was a setback, nothing more. Darrell was still determined to do his own deal. With ability, determination, and a very big check from Western Auto, he succeeded. But as he and Rick Hendricks were negotiating the sale of the shop where Darrell's race cars were already parked, DW learned an important first lesson about running your own team.
I went through this place, all of us did, took inventory, priced everything, and we were miles apart. No way were we ever going to get together. Push had come to shove. Y'all going to have to make a decision because you only got, we're running out of time. I said, well, I don't want anything you got. Well, that was might have been a big mistake. It didn't turn out to be, but it could have been. It was borderline.
See, everybody thinks you just bought it from Hendricks and moved in.
No, buddy. They dug bushes up out of the ground, took them with them. I mean, they took the light bulbs out.
They wanted you to have a new team.
There was nothing. I mean, we were sitting on tin cans around here. And I walked in here and I said, men, we got ourselves a major problem.
And yet, 3 months later, DW put together a team that almost won another Daytona 500. And a few weeks after that, they did win at North Wilkesboro, right up there in Junior Johnson's backyard.
I know you won so many races, it's hard to say how it feels to win, but boy, the winning as a car owner had to be the sweetest thing that ever happened.
I mean, I wish it had been 10 years ago, and I could have got out. They'd still be hearing about that one.
They couldn't shut you up then.
No, but I'd have done a documentary on that one. But I was just so relieved, gratified, relieved, pleased, proud, all those things that you can imagine when we won Wilkesboro. And to win Wilkesboro, and you know what that's like.
Somebody's backyard.
Yeah, I've had people, when I drove Junior's car, we've had people tell us, I'd rather win at Wilkesboro than win the Daytona 500 to beat you guys. So it was just a real thrill and a big relief. And everybody came back. We had a big party and celebrated. It's the first time we'd had time to celebrate anything. And we had done it. We had started from absolutely ground zero and put it back together and won a Winston Cup race. And you know how hard that is. And I don't think I've ever had a more gratifying experience in my whole life, other than when Jessica was born.
The biggest difference I see in DW then and DW now is how he has grown. In the early days, Darrell was a racer and a rough and tumble competitor, and that's about it. Now he's a racer, a car owner, a husband, and a father, and quite a remarkable human being.
It's the lifeblood of your engine. That makes your oil filter your engine's most vital organ. That's why Fram keeps going the extra mile to make the best protection even better. The Fram ExtraGuard oil filter. Unique glass fiber paper stops more dirt than any other filter for the best protection ever. Fram ExtraGuard, American or import, it's an extra lease on life.
Costly engine wear occurs when you first start your car because even the best motor oils and additives are down in the oil pan. Slick 50 protects your engine at startup. It treats the engine, not the oil. Independent lab tests showed Slick 50 reduced engine wear by 50% for 50,000 miles. Since 1978, over 15 million people worldwide have used Slick 50. Starting your engine without it is a terrible thing to do.
Whether your passion is for salt or freshwater fishing, the Fishing Club of America is for you.
You can't beat the benefits.
Join now and get at no extra cost personal accident insurance from Nationwide Mutual Insurance of Columbus, Ohio. An opportunity to receive a Visa card with no annual fee for a year. Get the Angler newsletter and Fishing World magazine, the oldest fishing magazine in America. Inside, you'll find informative articles by some of the most well-known experts in the sport.
Helps me put more fish in the boat, and that's what it's all about.
Get up to 25% off on car rentals and fishing products. And as an added bonus, get a free Magnet Strike lure plus the official club emblem. You get all this for a paid membership fee of only $19.95. A complete package that's worth well over $80, including insurance, Fishing World magazine, a Visa card, the Angler newsletter, up to 25% off on car rentals and fishing products, your free Magnet Strike lure, and official club emblem. All for only $19.95.
I'm glad I'm a member.
Catch the big one with the Fishing Club of America today.
Next Sunday, live on TNN Motorsports. Last year, former ASA All-Star Darrell Waltrip came home to his old stomping ground. But it was no Sunday drive in the country. 91 champ Mike Eddy gave him a run for the money, while Bob Seneker fought tooth and nail to the bitter end. But in 1992, it's once again anyone's race. Live from Nashville, the ASA AC Delco Challenge Series. Parts Plus 250. Next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern, live. Only on TNN Motorsports.
Daryl, you mentioned little Jessica just before the commercial. You keep running up front, and she's going to be the most famous little girl in America. Tell me how she changed your life.
It changed everything. It's a whole new perspective. Mickey Mouse to me now is a hero. And Mickey Mouse used to be a guy that worked on my race car. Now he's a hero. So Disney World used to be somewhere over here in Charlotte, and now I know where it is. And Sleeping Beauty and Charlie B and Itchy. I mean, I know some people now that I never had any idea existed.
I think Jessica's been probably the major tool that the Lord has used to kind of mellow Daryl out and smooth him out and smooth the rough edges, and he's become just an incredibly sensitive, compassionate, tender person. He's a lot more caring, not just for us, but for other people. And I can't wait to see what a second one's going to do to him.
It's a tremendous thrill to have a little girl like that and to spend the time I get to spend with her. The complicating part of that is the time. Trying to be, and this is a tough situation for me. I've tried to redirect my priorities, God, family, racing, and I'm not having real good luck at doing that because of this undertaking. But by the same token, trying to be all things to all people is really hard because you're going to disappoint some people. I want to be the best father. I want to be the best husband. I want to be the best race driver. I want to be the best car owner. I want to be the best of everything that I'm involved in. I love every minute of it. I love everything I do. But boy, it gets hard to juggle all those balls at one time.
Speaking of enjoying what you do, I tell you what, I never realized till I quit racing. We used to have to race against each other all the time. I certainly appreciate you spending this time, and man, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed those years racing with you. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, we've had thank you, I appreciate that. I know we've had some trying times, I can think of a couple. Maybe you've forgotten them. If you have, I hope you never remember them.
That's the name of the game.
But I've enjoyed your show. I've watched it a lot, and I thank you for the opportunity to be on it.
Maybe a championship will come this year.
I hope so. 92 NASCAR Winston Cup champion would sure sound good ringing out of these walls.
It wouldn't be strange for you either.
No, thanks.
I guess I'm no different than the race fans. There's been times I've loved Darrell Waltrip, and there's been times I've hated him. But I'll tell you this, he's a winner. And I'm proud to have competed against him. And more than that, I'm proud he's my friend. You're invited back to Hueytown next week for drama, intrigue, romance, and excitement, and who knows what all. I'm Neil Bonnett.
Winners has been brought to you by Fram Filter Products. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. And Autolite Spark Plugs and Wire and Cable Products. Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. And by Pennzoil, the motor oil that outperforms any leading motor oil against viscosity breakdown.
When you're 20 years old and the hottest kid in NASCAR, life has to be exciting. Jeff Gordon tells what it's like to be the most sought-after driver in NASCAR. Next week on Winners.
Is the price of new furniture putting the bite on you?
It's a going out of business price, and these are the final weeks of Hallmark Furniture Lane Country Gallery. We're going out of business, and we mean business. We're forced to liquidate a multi-million-dollar inventory of the world's finest furniture, bedding, and accessories. These are the final weeks. Everything will be sacrificed,
regardless of cost or loss.
Hurry to the final weeks of Hallmark Furniture Lane Country Gallery's going out of business sale, 1641 Route 110, Farmingdale, and take the bite out of buying furniture.